You
Yeah.
mentioned almost any American be smart on Israel, on Ukraine, and on um, places that we see in the news every day. I'm going to pick
Yes,
two that are in different categories. Argentina, someone may have heard something's going on, and then Bangladesh, they have no idea what's going on. So first,
that is true.
set up Malay and Argentina and why it matters.
Well, Argentina is one of the most important countries in the Americas. Uh, Large population, 40, 50 million people, beautiful country. But for decades now, they have been mired in debt and, tremendous inflation. I mean, we worried about our, single digit inflation. In Argentina, they're facing triple digit inflation, meaning over 100%. They have a new president elected overwhelmingly by the people there. Um, he's an unusual man. Some have compared him to Donald Trump. He has very strong ideas. He's begun to implement his program. He wants to privatize a lot of companies. Um, he wants to, trim down the government, eliminate some taxes. I mean, he has lots of plans. So it's a country that I think a lot of Americans have been to Argentina. Uh, it bears watching to see how this man who was overwhelmingly elected by the people who are deeply frustrated by years of mismanagement by both of the major parties. Mr. Milei, Javier Milei, came from pretty much out of nowhere. He was a TV personality, and but people liked him, particularly young people, and we'll see how he does.
Now, I want to point out
Malaysia,
in four paragraphs or 3 pages and 5 paragraphs, you lay out the background. I did not know that he took an axe to the regulations when he got into office. He cut 350
yes,
regulations about labor. And I knew that, but
right,
I did not know that a court had frozen it until this morning. So we have a sort of
right.
mini replication of what the Maine Secretary of State did in the United States this week, which was to act to stop a popularly elected person from doing what he got elected to do. And I did not know that until I read the Daily Chatter this morning. And you give the names. I mean, it's not you're not criticizing the judge. You're just letting us know Malay didn't
Right.
get what he wanted because it's been stopped.
Right, exactly. And we are, I should have mentioned, we are completely nonpartisan. We don't have a political leaning one way or the other. We just try to do it, I guess I'd like to say the old fashioned way, which is tell people what is happening.
And I love that. Let's go now to Bangladesh. I know
Yes.
so little about Bangladesh. I've never been there. I know it was originally East Pakistan when India
Yep.
was
Yep.
divided in 1948. There became Pakistan, both East and West, and India. And then Bangladesh revolted from West Pakistan, became East Pakistan. And that's pretty much
Right.
where it stops for me, except they have typhoons and terrible exposure to global warming, and they've got famine, and they've got instability. I learned more this morning about Pakistan than I know. Why did you write it up today?
Because they have an election on Sunday. So 2024 is the year of elections. 65 countries will have elections in 2024. Half of the world's population, more than 4 billion people, will be able to vote. It just so happens that Bangladesh is number one on that long list of elections, which of course includes our own here in the United States. Russia will have an election. The outcome there is not in doubt. Neither is the outcome in Bangladesh. Prime Minister Sheikh Hassan, who is the daughter of the founding father of Bangladesh, is almost certain to be reelected to her fourth term in office. Why is Bangladesh important? Well, it's the eighth largest country in the world. It's the third largest Muslim majority country. Um, One of the world's biggest exporters of textiles. About 80% of their export earnings come from textiles. Um, but like so many other countries in this region, it's become kind of a battleground between China, the U.S., and of course China and India have a big competition going on, and Bangladesh is just to the east of India, and China is has a lot of influence there, and is trying to have more. it's also a great. They have a whole coastline on the Indian Ocean, and China would like to have more ports on the Indian Ocean for
And
its
that is
very large.
the fingers on the point there. Now, we do have enough time to do Malaysia. I didn't know that we would, but I'm going to throw it in. Malaysia
Okay.
has taken a position that is anti Israel. Did they ever say anything about the Uyghur genocide, by the way, Phil Balboni? I don't remember Malaysia being very vocal about China's imprisonment of 1 million
I'm,
Uyghurs.
I'm, I'm, I'm sure they were not. I'm sure they were not. And um, yeah, I mean, it's not a surprise. Malaysia is another Muslim majority country, uh, and like Pakistan and Bangladesh. So their position on the conflict in Gaza is pretty much to be expected. And there was a boycott of McDonald's in Malaysia that was particularly pointed out in our story this morning. I mean, we could probably write 10 more stories like this about the impact of the war in Gaza in various countries and how people are positioning there. I mean,
And I want to
since
put
we're
a
speaking,
cap on it, Philip, this way. We've covered more about Argentina, Bangladesh, and Malaysia in 5 minutes than everyone in the United States will hear on the network news tonight. And I did it with
that's for
you because
sure.
you put that in my newsletter this morning. And if teachers
Right.
do that, Americans won't be so stupid about the world. And I mean, we're not really, we didn't used to be this way, right? We used to actually know the
No,
world,
we
but
did.
there was a lot less to the world.
Well, and there's very little reporting on the world, as you already said, on television, but even in other um, newspapers online, there's not much international. That's really why I'm doing this, is to try to bring back some awareness of what's happening in the world. We need to know. Young people need to know. Older people need to know. We all need to know. It affects us.
Philip Balboni, dailychatter.com. Thank you. We'll check in again next month. If you're a teacher or a
Right.
student, go to dailychatter.com, hit the university button on the navigation bar, and get a free subscription and get it every morning. And your class is taught for you. Every single day, your class is taught for you. What more can I give you than that? Philip is giving you that. And if you want to be smart about the world and you can't afford 5 newspapers like I do for my business, get the Daily Chatter. Thank you, Philip Balboni.